welcome to episode 8 of Cooking with Remi, aka our Thanksgiving special. Let's get cooking. When I tell you guys that when I conceptualized the idea of making Cooking with Remi a real show, I was most excited for these holiday special episodes because I love Thanksgiving food and Christmas food with my entire heart. We are making the turkey, we are making the potatoes, we're making the vegetables, we're making dessert, and we're making the appetizers, a full course meal that you can make for your family, for your Friendsgiving, for yourself, whatever floats your boat. You will love all of these recipes, I swear to you. Thanksgiving to me is spending time with my family and my friends, eating like the best food. I always looked forward to all of the amazing holiday special episodes on Food Network growing up when I was obsessed with the Food Network. A huge childhood memory for me is being in the kitchen with my mom, helping her make and prep all of the holiday foods, spending time with her, learning how to make like our family recipes that I want to share with you guys today. Also, in case you missed it, I did do an episode of Cooking with Remi with my mother, linked here or here somewhere around. Go check it out. Overall, I love it so much. I love being in the kitchen and I love making food that makes all of the people that I love happy, including you. On that note, if you guys are ready to cook a Thanksgiving feast, let's get cooking. We are beginning with the turkey. This girl right here is very heavy, about 20 pounds. I can use her to squat. What? I really should be careful. We are filming this very early in the month so that we can get it up for you on time. Finding this little lady was very hard because no grocery stores have turkeys yet. We've got one chance to make this right. We've got here our beautiful turkey, which, gonna be honest, turkeys kind of scare me a little bit. If y'all know, I don't like birds, and so this is a little scary, but I'm gonna do it for you. Last year was my first time ever making a turkey. I'm gonna be honest, usually growing up, my parents are very big on catering or picking up a pre-made turkey because it is a lot of work and it is a lot of time, but I promise you, it is so worth the work that you put in. Of course, you wanna be extra careful, be extra clean with everything because this is a raw bird, could potentially have salmonella, so you wanna be extra clean. I've been like bleaching everything all day today to make sure that it's all clean. Keep cleaning your surfaces. Be extra careful. I've already preheated the oven to 325 degrees and I took out all of the racks in my oven except for one because this thing is tall and it's gonna need the entire oven to get all this going. I let her defrost. You wanna make sure that your turkey defrosts about 24 hours for every 5 pounds of turkey, and this one is about 17 pounds or so it took a very long time. You leave it in the refrigerator for like 3-4 days, however long you need it to be in there for. Some turkeys are really big and you need it there for like a week. It takes up a lot of space in your fridge though, and if you don't have enough time to let it thaw, if you are a procrastinator, you can also put it into a sink full of cold water, and then every 30 minutes just keep changing out the water until your turkey is thawed, and then also let it sit out on a roasting rack like this for an hour before you begin so it can come to room temperature. To begin, I am going to roll up my sleeves nice and well, and we're gonna put on some gloves. We are ready for surgery. I'm going to pull the legs out, and then inside the turkey, depending on what turkey you get, there is usually a neck and then a bag of giblets inside, which is kind of like all the inside stuff. That makes great gravy if you want to choose to make your own gravy, but I personally just choose to dispose of all my stuff. So I'm taking everything out. Once everything from the inside is taken out and our bird is ready to go, we are going to pat dry liberally with paper towels. You want to make sure this thing is as dry as the Sahara Desert because then our butter will stick to every crevice that we're gonna put it in and you get a crispy skin and a nice tender moist meat on the inside. But that will not happen if there's water on there because it's just gonna like poach and not get crispy, and no one wants a sad wet turkey. Now I'm tucking the wings, which this one's fighting back. She's strong. Tuck the wing. I tucked the wings underneath itself, which you just gotta like bend it a little bit. And now, this might be bad to say, but this is my favorite part because I find it kind of fun. You wanna go in with your fingers, again, make sure you're wearing gloves, and you wanna separate the meat from the skin. You just kind of like gently pull. Do not do what I did last year, which was I was way too rough with it and I made a lot of tears in it. Not a big deal if you do, it tastes the same, but it just doesn't look as pretty, so I'm gonna be very careful. And again, we only have one turkey to work with, so we're gonna gently slide my hand in here. You kind of want to start slowly and work your way over. Eventually you'll be able to get your whole hand in there. The reason why we do this is to allow a gap between the skin and the meat, and again, just like drying it, we're gonna slide our butter inside here later, and it's going to allow us to add butter to the actual meat and butter to the skin so that everything just cooks really well and gets nice and flavored. Welcome to what we are stuffing our turkey with. This smells amazing. The herbs smell incredible. So we are going to chop these up and then stuff the inside of the turkey. It's gonna add a lot of flavor and just flavor the juices, and is an absolute necessity for a delicious Thanksgiving turkey. I like doing an apple for sweetness. This is a Fuji apple. Also, this is a massive apple, so if you get a normal sized apple, use a whole one. I'm using half of this. This is also a massive onion, so I'm gonna use only half of this, but if it's smaller, use a whole onion. Also, for some like nice earthiness, we've got a stalk of celery, 2 carrots, a lemon for some zing, and then of course, what is a Remi recipe without garlic? I've got a whole head of garlic here. And then we're gonna make an herb bundle. I have here Italian parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. So let's start by doing that. All we're gonna do is just put our bundle right on top of some cooking twine that we've cut. Make sure they're all lined up, and then give it a good tight double knot to keep everything nice and secure. And we're gonna stuff this inside of our turkey. For the garlic, I'm just gonna slice it right down the center, and we're just gonna stuff the cavity with this. I'm gonna halve and then quarter the lemon. Celery and carrots can just be roughly chopped. We're gonna half the onion, and then from there, just cut it into chunks. You can keep the skin on because we're not gonna actually be eating any of these vegetables. It's just to add flavor. And then rough chop our apple. And that is everything we are stuffing our turkey with. We've got our turkey back, and now we're going to stuff the cavity with all of our veggies and herbs and fruits and everything like that. This is super random. You're just gonna throw it in there. And I like to stuff mine as full as it can get personally. Put our herbs in there and just nestle everything together. Our turkey is pretty much ready to go. I'm telling you guys, it's way easier than I ever thought it was. We are now making the most delicious herb butter to go in, on, all around the turkey. This is an absolute necessary step to have a nice, delicious, moist, crispy turkey. In my little slap chop, I have 12 cloves of garlic. Now you can do more, you can do less. You already know. This is a lot of garlic for me. You want to get it down nice and fine, not minced, but like a nice fine chop. As much as I like biting into cloves of garlic, not everyone does. This is about the mince that we're going for. I have here 2 cups of softened butter. I know it's a lot of butter, I know, but I promise it makes the world of difference in the turkey. So I'm just gonna add all my garlic to my butter. My 2 favorite things, garlic and butter. Now we're gonna season, which we need to season this. Please season this. We're gonna use actual seasonings. I have salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and then an assortment of herbs. I'm using fresh herbs. You can use dried herbs if you can't get the fresh herbs. I have rosemary and thyme, but feel free to use sage, parsley. You pretty much can't put a bad herb in an herb butter unless you put like mint in. Don't do that. Mint is for Christmas, not for Thanksgiving. So you want to finely chop these, throw this right into your butter. Then we're gonna season with our hearts. I'm gonna add in a good amount of salt because we need to obviously season everything, and also I'm using unsalted butter. So if you're using salted butter, obviously put less salt. Lots of good pepper, tried and true onion powder, of course. Lots of this because this is going literally everywhere. Now I'm going to use my hands. It'll just help kind of meld everything together because the warmth of your hands helps soften the butter even more and just makes it delicious. Our butter is done. Now we are going to grab our butter and put it everywhere, and I mean everywhere. We loosened up the skin so that we could get in there and just kind of push it all around. Again, this is going to add flavor to the meat. It's going to add flavor to the skin, add crispiness to the skin, and just be as gentle as you can again because you don't want to rip anything. Massage her literally anywhere you can get butter to stick to. Now, I will say she's not the most beautiful looking girl at the fair, but she's going to taste delicious and the butter is going to melt all down. I tried to get it on as evenly as I could. I am not a turkey expert, but I do promise you it will taste good. So the last final steps, I'm going to take chicken stock and we're going to pour this all over. You can use veggie stock, you can use turkey stock, you can use whatever stock you'd like. And this is just gonna add more flavor. We're gonna pour it on top. And then while it's cooking, it's going to obviously steam up and help flavor the turkey even more. Pour her all over. I'm gonna use about half a box of this stock. Now we can leave it here, but this is a trick that I learned last year that adds the most delicious flavor to the turkey. I will say if you're going to make gravy out of it, it doesn't make the best flavor for the gravy, but I'd rather have a better flavored turkey and then just make gravy on the side. We're gonna add champagne to our turkey. Now I do indeed have an irrational fear that I'm gonna lose an eyeball if I open up a champagne cork, so I am gonna wear safety goggles. Be safe, everyone. Ah, I'm so scared. 1, 2, wait. Ah! Oh man. Let the turkey be merry. You can do the whole bottle if you'd like, but I'm just gonna add a little flavor with mine. Honestly, it just adds like some nice juiciness and again, just like a nice tart flavor. I have butter in my hair. Thank you so much. Our oven has been preheated for a very long time. I'm now going to cover the turkey in foil. You wanna try and make sure that the foil doesn't touch the turkey. So you wanna just try and form like a nice little tent over the turkey. And we're doing this to prevent the skin from burning because obviously this is gonna be in the oven for a very long time. Okay, I'm gonna put this into the oven now for 2.5 to 3 hours and then we'll remove the foil, but we'll get to that later. So gently, gently, gently place this in the oven. Be very careful. Oh my God, it's so heavy. It's been 2.5 hours. The turkey is out. It was covered by foil, so it's not gonna be as beautiful as it's gonna get. But first impression, I'll let you see first. Oh, she's naked. But as I said, now we're gonna use this baster. Pick up all the liquids right here, cover the bird. Usually I do this in the oven, but obviously I gotta show you guys how to do it. And you just put it everywhere. And we're gonna do this every 10 minutes for the next 30 to 45 minutes with the foil off. This is now when the skin's gonna get extra crispy. It smells incredible, by the way. Look at all this garlic and all the herbs on top. So we're gonna do this a few times. You don't have to do this, but I really do think it makes a difference. We're gonna pop her back into the oven and I'll come back in 30 to 45 minutes. Moving on, we are making turkey and cranberry stuffing meatballs. These combine all of my favorite things in one and the perfect little appetizer to serve at your party, your Friendsgiving, whatever it is that you're throwing. So we're gonna use a box of stuffing mix. If you don't like box stuffing, you can make your own, but I see nothing wrong with boxed stuffing. Throw it into a bowl. Oh, it looks so good. They just look like those little like chips you get in the Chex Mix. Not as good, not cooked, but still not horrible. I'm just going to give it a little mix so that all the seasonings kind of mix throughout. And I'm gonna take my hot chicken stock here that I just heated up in the microwave. She is hot. You can use water for this, but I feel like obviously the chicken stock just adds more flavor. Again, you can use turkey stock, vegetable stock, whatever kind of stock you want. Give it a good mix so it's all well incorporated. And we're gonna let this absorb for about 10 minutes or so the bread softens and expands. And then we can add it to our meatball mixture. I'm gonna add in a pound of ground turkey to my bowl. For this, you can use turkey, you can use impossible meat, you can use pork, you can use breakfast sausage, whatever you'd like. To the turkey, I'm gonna add in milk. You can also use heavy whipping cream or whatever kind of dairy liquid that you'd like. Water works as well. 1 egg. The egg is gonna be our binder. It's gonna keep everything together so that our meatballs don't fall apart and you don't end up with ground turkey nothing. Also to this mixture, I'm gonna add in my cranberry sauce. This is from a can. I did not home make this. I love cranberry sauce in a can. Sue me. I think it's delicious. This is gonna add some nice sweetness to our meatballs and give it that full Thanksgiving flavor. I'm gonna admit, she's not very pretty and she's not very bright, but she'll taste delicious and that's all that matters. Also, we've let our stuffing mixture sit and as you can see, it's absorbed and just kind of expanded. And we're gonna add this to our turkey mixture. Lots of black pepper, and then give it a good mix all together until it's well combined. All right, our meatball mixture is ready. Now, you want to bake these in the oven, but obviously my turkey is taking up the entirety of my oven. So I am very lucky. I have a second oven. It's a very small oven, and this is literally the only size pan that will fit in there. I'm just gonna have to make my meatballs in batches. I'm gonna put it in this pan, as well as this little casserole dish. But if you don't have a second oven, no worries at all. Obviously, you can just time your turkey a little differently and cook these in the regular oven, or cook them in the air fryer. Those would also be very delicious. So I'm gonna spray whatever pans I'm using to cook these with some cooking oil so that they don't stick. Then with my gloves, I'm just gonna go in and grab about 2 to 3 ounces of the meatball mixture and just form it into little balls. You can make them as big as you'd like or as small as you'd like. You can make these massive or make them patties again. But this is about my perfect meatball size. All right, our meatballs are formed. They smell delicious. They look so cute. I'm gonna hit each one with a little bit of flaky salt on top just to make it extra pretty. You can add Parmesan cheese. You can add more herbs if you'd like. So I'm gonna bake these in a 400-degree oven for about 15 to 17 minutes. And then when they're done baking, I'm gonna hit them with a broiler for about 3 minutes or so to get that nice, delicious, browned, crusty top that we all love on a meatball. If you guys have watched my vlogs ever since I started making them pretty much a decade ago, you know that this recipe is a tried and true holiday recipe. In my family, we make it every Thanksgiving, every Christmas. It's my brother's absolute favorite side dish. And this is the one recipe that I helped my mom make growing up because it's really easy and she knew she could trust me to help her make it. And then eventually, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, it just became my task to make it from start to finish. And I've kind of just like added different things to it over the years. I remember in my parents' pantry in their kitchen, she had this really, really old green, like a leathery little, tiny little cookbook. It was all like handwritten in. And I've seen that people call call them funeral potatoes online, but I just call it cornflake potato casserole. But I kind of get why they're called funeral potatoes, because there is a lot of dairy and not a single, potatoes are vegetables. They're vegetables. So they're really easy. All you're gonna do is take a 9x13 casserole dish, and I'm taking shredded potato hash browns. I have 2 bags here, and we're just gonna layer them in. So I poured in 1 bag. I'm gonna put a little bit more in, just because usually I only use 1 bag, but I feel like there's never enough. So this time I'm using a little more. Woo! Potato City. The only thing you want is a nice even layer. So no matter how much potato you put in, just make sure it's nice and even. I use like 1.5 bags. So our potatoes are evenly laid out. Now in a large bowl, I'm going to mix together my sour cream. Delish. Oh, that sound. As I've gotten older, I understand why they're called funeral potatoes, but again, we're calling them cornflake potato casserole because it's less sad. A can of cream of chicken soup. Good. Ooh, gelatinous good. Ooh, yum. We're gonna add 1/2 cup of melted butter. It's like a beautiful dairy lava lamp. 2 cups of shredded cheese. I'm using cheddar, but you can add in pepper jack if you want a little spice. You can add in mozzarella if you want it a little more mild. I just use cheddar because that's what my brother likes, and I literally make this for him. And we're gonna season, of course, again, salt, pepper. You already know, tried and true. I actually saw a lot of recipes don't even put pepper in because it's that flavorless. Sorry, I'm not making it sound good. I promise it's good, but it's just like, it's just funny. Garlic powder and onion powder. And one thing that I've added in throughout the years that I feel like just kind of like adds a little more flavor, makes it a little bit more fun. I sauteed up 1/2 of an onion and 3 cloves of garlic and some butter. And this just adds more depth of flavor, which is of course what we're looking for. Now we're gonna mix all of this together. I will say I've done a lot of research online, and a lot of people mix the shredded hash browns with this mixture and then put it in the casserole dish, which totally makes sense. But ever since I was a kid, in that little green book, it taught me to put this just right into the potatoes. So that's what I'm gonna do. You're just gonna pour this mixture on top and then just use your spoon to spread it all out. And basically when it melts down in the oven, all of the cheese and everything's gonna melt down and seep into the potatoes, and it just cooks in there, and it is so yummy. When you scoop it out on top, casserole vibes, so good. So now our potatoes, I mean, you can always eat it just like this, but of course we're gonna add the best part, which is a cornflake topping. If you don't wanna use cornflakes, you can use potato chips, pretzels, Ritz crackers, whatever you wanna use, like little pita chips. Pita chips could be good too. But whatever you're using, you're gonna take these and mix it with 1 cup of melted butter, funeral potatoes. Then you wanna toss these around, try and be extra gentle. I like when I get my like big crunchy flakes of cornflakes, but if you want little like small pieces, obviously go to town so that the butter coats all of the cornflakes. It's gonna make it delicious. Okay, now we're gonna top everything with the cornflake mixture. Trying to not use up all the butter if not necessary. And then spread all of the cornflakes all around. I'm telling you, the cornflakes are truly the best part, so if you wanna add even more, feel free. Honestly, I might add a little more. Wow, it's literally the size of my torso. We are now going to bake this. I'm gonna cover it with aluminum foil so that our cornflakes don't get burnt, because that would make me very sad. All right, we're gonna bake this for 40 minutes at 350 degrees, and then after the 40 minutes is up, take off the aluminum foil, and then we're gonna bake it for another 10 to 15 so that the cornflakes can get crispy and crunchy and everything is all melty and ooey gooey and delicious. Oh God, it's heavy. Oh my God, this is so heavy. All right, we got the turkey, we got the meatballs, we got the potatoes. We need a little vegetable in our life, and I thought I would share with you guys this veggie. Fly. Where is it? So I make these Brussels sprouts all the time for regular dinners and lunches. I'll make a bunch of them and then I'll throw them in salads or put it as a side or just eat it on its own when I just need a little bit more vegetables in my life. Eat your vegetables. That's kind of good. But also I figured it'd be the perfect side to throw together for Thanksgiving. I feel like it has a lot of like really nice autumnal flavors while also still just being a little bit on the lighter side, as I said. Let's go to the stove and get cooking. We're gonna start with a little pan over medium-low heat. I have chopped pecans here. You can use walnuts, you can use pine nuts, you can use whatever nut you like, but I like pecans because I feel like they add a nice subtle flavor. It's nothing like too crazy and they just go well together with everything. So I'm just gonna dry toast these for like a little bit. So dry toasting these are gonna bring out the natural nuttiness and like the natural oils in the pecans. Now, once our pecans have dry toasted, we're going to add some sort of sugaryness to candy the pecans. You can add in honey, you can add in regular sugar if you'd like, but I find that maple syrup adds like a really nice flavor, while also, again, just kind of keeping it a little healthier. And you're just gonna let that maple syrup reduce down, get nice and bubbly, and coat the pecans. Maple and pecan go together like myself and Tito's, so you know it's a match made in heaven. So we're gonna let this become thick and bubbly, as you can see here, and then after we let them coat for like another couple minutes or so, transfer it to some parchment paper and let them cool. We've got our pan here. I've got a large pan over medium heat, and I'm just gonna drizzle it with some olive oil, and I'm going to put in our Brussels sprouts. So some of these Brussels sprouts were ginormous, so I quartered them, but usually I just half them, and I'm gonna take them, you don't have to individually do this, but I'm gonna put them flat side down on the pan, and I feel like that's the best way to get a nice crispy edge on them, and then try my best to just get them to like touch the actual pan to get a nice Maillard reaction. That's like when the food turns brown and gives you like nice flavor. Science. And then we're gonna cover them with a lid. This is going to allow them, this lid obviously doesn't fit, but it's gonna allow the steam to kind of soften up the Brussels sprouts while still giving a nice crispy edge. Hi guys, I'm back. I took a pee break and I accidentally let them cook for too long. So they just got a smidge darker than I would like, but that's okay. They're salvageable. All right, we're gonna add in our chopped garlic and our shallots right into the little pan. I'm gonna add in a little bit more olive oil just to keep things going. Mix it all up and let them cook a little longer till the shallots and the garlic soften, and then the Brussels sprouts have fully cooked all the way through. All right, the shallots have sauteed down. The Brussels sprouts are good. The garlic is good. I'm gonna add salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and about a teaspoon of red pepper flakes, along with an 1/8 cup of chicken broth, and then mix it all together. After all the seasonings are mixed in, we're also gonna add in our sweetened dried cranberries. When you add these with the steam, they're gonna get nice and plump and so yummy, and it adds like a nice sweetness to the dish. And let them cook down a little bit longer. You can kick up the heat if you want them to get crispier again too. The Brussels are almost done. I'm gonna add our pecans back in there, and we just wanna mix it so that obviously in every bite you can get a Brussels, the cranberry, the pecan, just so everything is well dispersed. We've saved the best for last, dessert. I'm gonna be making you guys one of my absolute favorite desserts. I wanted to do something that's not like the normal pumpkin pie, pecan pie, you know, the normal fall Thanksgiving desserts, because those get kind of boring. This is a creme brulee cheesecake. It is delicious. It definitely takes a lot of time, but it is worth every minute. You bake a cheesecake in a springform pan in a water bath. So this is a springform pan. Basically, there's a latch on the side that you can open up. You open it up and it pops out like that. I spray the inside with some cooking oil, and then I put a piece of parchment paper that I cut to fit the bottom here, just to make things easier. You don't have to put the parchment paper in, but do it if you want to help yourself later. Now in this bowl, I have melted 1.5 sticks of butter, or 12 tablespoons. Here I have 2 packs of graham crackers that I just blended up in this blender, but if you don't have a blender, you can put it in a food processor or put it into a big Ziploc bag. Make sure it's sealed. Take a rolling pin and go to town on it until you get a nice fine crumb like so. And I'm just gonna add this into our butter. All right, we're gonna sprinkle this in. We're also gonna add some salt, as well as some vanilla bean paste. So I personally don't like to add sugar to my crust because I like the juxtaposition between like the saltier crust or like the more like plain crust and then the sweet, sweet, sweet filling. I just think it tastes a little better and it's not like an overpowering sweetness in your mouth. But one thing I like to add to both is vanilla bean paste. I love vanilla bean paste because it actually has like the little vanilla bean flecks in it. I think it tastes better. It doesn't taste artificial. I think it looks really pretty, and also overall is just a nice little surprise in your cheesecake. Now we're gonna mix this all together until our crust forms. There we go. Now we're gonna take our crummy mixture and put it into our pan. Then you're gonna press down all around. I'm also using a 9-inch springform pan, but you can use an 8-inch or whatever you have on hand. You can just use a cake pan if you want to. Okay, I'm just gonna press it all at the bottom, make sure it's nice and even, and then also kind of bring it up on the edges. This will just make it easier to cut later. Also, we all know that the crust is the best part of any cheesecake, so I actually, with my recipe, double the crust. If I could have 100% crust, I would. We're gonna set this to the side now and work on the filling. Next up for the filling, you need 4 blocks of cream cheese. Yes, you heard me right, 4 blocks of cream cheese, but I promise it's worth every bite. I'm using a stand mixer for this, but you can use a hand mixer if you have it, or just do it actually by hand. Cream cheese in the bowl. Now I'm gonna add my sugar, sprinkler in. We are going to add our cream cheese and sugar to our mixer. Make sure she's locked and loaded with the paddle attachment. Oh, it's so soft. And then blend this for about 2 to 3 minutes on like low so that it becomes nice and fluffy. Now that our cream cheese has come together with the sugar, it's become delicious. It looks like frosting. I'm gonna add in my eggs. I have 3 whole eggs here and then 3 egg yolks as well. And we're just gonna add them in one at a time until it incorporates and becomes like a really pretty light pale yellow color. Now our mixture is pretty much almost done. We're just gonna add some salt, of course, to bring out the flavor. Our vanilla bean paste to add the little flecks and the flavor, and it just looks so pretty. And lastly, 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. It's just gonna help thicken things up a bit. We're gonna blend this on low for another minute. Don't overmix it, and then we're pretty much done. All right, our filling is done, our crust is ready, and now I'm gonna take 4 pieces of aluminum foil that are big enough to essentially wrap or cover the crust pan. So I'm gonna take 4 of these. This is the best method that I found thus far. So what I'm gonna do here is line them almost like a fan. Start with the biggest one at the bottom and then kind of spin them around a bit. This is just to get like maximum coverage with the pan. Take your pan, place it in the middle, and we're going to wrap it up the sides. I know it's a lot of foil, but trust me, I have not used this much before, and I got water in my cheesecake and it wasn't fun. So this ensures we are quadruple checked for a dry cheesecake. So normally I place my cheesecake in the roasting pan and I use that to water bake my cheesecake, but our roasting pan is currently being occupied by an actual roast turkey. So I'm gonna use this Dutch oven instead, but basically any pot or pan that is taller than the springform pan and bigger and wider. So we're gonna pour our filling into the mold. It looks so good. Now normally when I use my roasting pan, I put the cheesecake into the pan first and then fill up the water, but because this pot's a little smaller, I'm gonna start with the water first and then add the cheesecake in. So we're gonna pour our boiling water into the pot. And the reason why we do a water bath is because it'll help just gently cook the cheesecake so that everything is fully cooked, because there's a lot of eggs in here. You wanna make sure it's fully cooked all the way through, obviously. I'm gonna put the cheesecake in, and then the hot water should come up about 3/4 of the way up the side of the cheesecake. Actually, it's pretty perfect. She's just chilling in there. Okay, so we're gonna bake this in the oven at 325 at 1 hour and 40 minutes. And then after that's done, shut off the oven, but keep this inside the oven. Take a wooden spatula or a wooden utensil and prop the oven door open with it. Let this whole vessel sit in the oven for a whole hour to come to room temperature. Remove it from the water bath, take off this foil, cover it with fresh foil, and then refrigerate it for at least 5 hours to overnight. With a little movie magic, our cheesecake is prepped. I wish you guys could see the crust to cheesecake ratio. This thing is beautiful. We had a little bit of a mishap here in the middle, but the best part about this cheesecake is that even if you get a crack, which a lot of people are prone to getting cracks in their cheesecakes, it doesn't matter because we're gonna cover it up with sugar. You can do thin, you can do thick. I like a thick because I like the crusty part at the top. But you're just gonna add sugar right to the top, all over, so that it is fully covering. And if you got an area with a crack, or maybe an area like mine where, you know, it just didn't look as pretty, no worries, add more sugar. That's my life tactic, just add more sugar. Once our sugar is on, we're gonna, anticlimactic, blowtorch. I'm using this little baby one that I stole from Cal, but you can use, honestly, whatever you have. Just get close to it like so, and then just let it caramelize. I'm gonna be honest, this little, I should probably get my big one out. Okay, I'm just gonna go over all of the sugar. I got this on Amazon, I'll link it down below for you guys. And you want it to become this beautiful, caramelized, crystally goodness all over. All right, once you're done crystallizing the top, I'm just gonna add little strawberries all along. And done. Ah! Oh my God, it's so heavy, it's so heavy, it's so heavy, it's so heavy. Check your temperature, girl. Woo! It's literally perfect. Oh my God. So the internal temperature of your turkey should come to 160 degrees. Perfect. I'm gonna let this rest for 30 minutes and then time to carve her, baby. Beautiful turkey, let's go. All right, guys, we finished an entire Thanksgiving meal. I am so excited to eat all of these things. They all look amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed watching how to make some new things. Hopefully you pull them out at your Thanksgiving this year, and hopefully your family, your friends, you yourself love them. Be sure to come back to the next video because I'm gonna show you what to make with Thanksgiving leftovers, which is quite possibly even better than the actual meal itself. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.